you against vaccination?
Absolutely not. I don't think anybody should be anti-vax.
Are you happy that I get vaccinated?
Absolutely. And for you, it did exactly what it should. I'm anti-mandate.
Is that why you didn't get the vaccine?
No, I will say that I'm a little pissed.
About what?
There are people that have lost like 40 pounds.
How many you
nothing.
lost?
Nothing. Not an ounce. Your routine that you have in everything that you do. You have a nighttime routine. It's so funny, I think of your routine starting at night. Well, that was the first routine of yours that I really learned about. And I remember when we were living in Portsmouth, in that little little shoebox of an apartment. And I didn't understand. Like, you'd be like, all right, I'll come to bed. And it was like a half an hour later, 20 minutes, half hour later, you'd come to bed. And, you know, I'm a pretty regular guy, so I go in, I wash my face, brush my teeth. And that's like 5 minutes. So I'd never seen a woman with a nighttime routine. So that was it, just in and of itself very educational for me. But then I saw that routine was more than just soap. It wasn't just skin conditioning. That was something that you did for yourself very actively. You really, I don't know what the word would be, but you really put a lot of time into yourself on that one. That was your commitment to yourself, and you honored that commitment. And I really liked watching that. And that was probably the first thing that I really saw you do. And I knew that you wanted more in life. You know, like we had talked about when we were in Portsmouth, you wanted to have space. That was a big conversation that you and I had. That you needed space to, have a little bit of sense of privacy and autonomy, but it was really, you know, I like my space a certain way so that I can just explore being me, whatever it is that you want to explore. And I've seen you explore and do really, really well with a lot of hobbies. Crochet, ukulele, I was thinking guitar, ukulele, your vlog, certainly. And, you know, with your vlog, there was a lot of the technical learning that came from learning how to use the editing software. And you've really just delved so deeply into every aspect of it. And that's your that's your routine. You know, when you vlog, some people I have seen just in videos that I've watched, if just one person in the relationship is a vlogger, then it's it's usually an adjustment on the part of the person who doesn't, because they say, oh, you know, you have to get used to your significant other always whipping out a phone or sharing your life, so instead of being private, you're actually kind of public. And I don't see it that way at all. I really don't. I see what you do as being part of you. That's part of your expression. That's part of your art. You know, there's couples that understand the world through that shared experience. two lawyers marry, then they'll probably, or two doctors, then they're either going to understand the world through the lens of the practice of law or the practice of medicine, right? And they're going to relate to each other in that context, in that language. And you and I are people who try to understand ourselves and try to grow. You know, we grew up pretty humble, to say the least. City kid, country kid. But we understand the world through experience, and we're a little introverted, so we understand it through a very singular experience. We're not big crowd, go out and see the world through the experience of a group. We see it very privately. And your vlogging work, and I do think that it's work, that's you exploring yourself and exploring the world. Do I care that you vlog? The way most people would mean that question, no, I don't care that you vlog. But I mean it as, yes, I do care that you vlog, because I see it as being such a precious experience for you. That's how you're touching the world. You can do anything you want, and I've seen you do a lot. I have. You know, and the things that you've done as hobbies, you run the money for our house, and you've done a lot of study to do that. And you're going to dig deeper into it. At some point, you're going to take that bookkeeping course that you were telling me about. You know, that's my wife being my wife, and I love seeing that, and I love seeing your routines. You know, from in the weird way that I look at it, the way that your day begins, your routines begin at night, because that's the biggest routine of all. I mean, that's a solid half hour. Right?
Yeah.
A little more, a little less.
I take my time. A little spa music.
Yeah. So I see my wife experiencing the world. And taking care of yourself. You know what? I've got my routine in the morning. Your bathroom routine in the morning is very short. Your morning routine is kind of like my nighttime routine. You know, because I do. At night, I wash my face, wash behind my ears, scrub my face really good, brush my teeth, rinse, that kind of thing. But it's really fast. My morning routine is really slow. I sit, I do chores.
You shower mostly in the morning, I shower at night.
I do, yeah. But my routine in the morning is just a lot of quiet. I hang out with the animals. They crawl all over me. They yell at me. I feed them. We have quiet time. Get into my lap and hang out with me. You know, this time of year, I've gotten into the habit of I get the wood stove going in the morning, and I sweep, and just little things.
See those wood stove? There. Beautiful.
And I have a cup of tea, and I'm just quiet, and that's it. I'll read the news and think, goddamn politicians, world's going to hell. I think whatever bullshit I think.
How are you feeling now after COVID? What is it now for you? 15th day. You're pretty much over it, right? Just a little bit of cough.
A little bit of fatigue, minor body aches. I have a weird pain in my back that happened yesterday. Dropped me.
Is this part of COVID still?
I think so.
So who has a milder symptoms between you and me?
You.
Do you think it's something to do with the vaccination?
I think the vaccine for you did exactly what it was supposed to do. The symptoms were mild, and the course was a little shorter. for me, I was scared to death of taking the vaccine because I care about the vaccine. But because I've got a lot of scar tissue in my lungs, I've got asthma, I've got immune issues anyway with influenza. I kind of fit exactly that definition of people that shouldn't take the vaccine. Because if I take the vaccine, I'll get virtually the full-blown illness.
Just like what you just got.
Just like what I just got. And then, you know, the trade-off is, okay, take the vaccination, get just as sick, and then you don't have so much the benefit of the natural immunity, because the vaccines, if you have a breakthrough and you contract the virus after you're vaccinated, then your natural immunity is somewhat limited. And if you're vaccinated, then you're only vaccinated against that wide of a spectrum versus natural immunity, which is much, much larger. You know, depending upon who you want to believe, you're 10 to 20 or 30 times more resistant with natural immunity. Any way you cut it, say you're twice as much, you're twice as resistant with natural immunity. That's still a lot. And no one has argued ever that natural immunity is anything less than 10 to 15 times stronger. So for me, the equation was take the risk, take the vaccine, know you're going to end up really sick, and then limit your natural immunity anyway. Or don't get vaccinated, don't have any of the complications from being induced, basically, to have COVID, to actually get sick, take all the risks of it being really severe, which was scary, and aggravating the asthma, which it certainly did. You weren't here for that, and it wouldn't have been pleasant if you were.
Yeah, I heard you though on the phone. But are you against vaccination?
Absolutely not. I don't think anybody should be anti-vax. Are
you happy that I get vaccinated?
Absolutely. And for you, it did exactly what it should. I'm anti-mandate.
Is that why you didn't get the vaccine?
No, because it wasn't mandated. It wasn't even really talked about being mandated. I was a little skeptical that a vaccine was rolled out that quickly, and it has become such a political football issue now. I don't really like that. No government should ever tell the citizenry, do this. I mean, and strip out the object. Take away the vaccine, right? Make it any issue, make it any action. And what you have is the classic slippery slope argument. Well, if they can tell you to do A, then they can tell you to do B and C and D and D. And people who are usually pro A, whatever that action is, will say, oh no, they would never do that until they do. Oh, well, we would never, as a country, because we're peaceful, we would never form an army. Well, we would only form an army if we were attacked. Well, now we have an army. Well, we know we said we would only use it defensively, but we're running out of oil, so now we're going to use it offensively. Well, we would never conscript people. It would be a volunteer army. Oh, well, we really need that oil. Now we're going to conscript people. And now we've got mandatory service. They would never tell any group of people that they would do something until they actually do it. So every time you do one thing, the second thing becomes that much easier. And the next time, and the next time, and the next time. And eventually you just have a population that just does whatever it's told and they don't fight back. And that's not a citizenry, that's not a republic. that's a dictatorship. Which, fine, if you want to be a dictator and tell people what to do, be it. But don't say that you're a democracy that would never manipulate its people while you're manipulating them. So, and people that are, and we'll go back to the vaccine, people who are pro-vaccine will be the first one to say, no, the slippery slope argument doesn't hold water. We're not talking about anything else. We're just talking about the vaccine. And I believe that they believe that. But the reality is that it never stops there. We will never say, we will do this thing and only this thing and this one time and never again and never further. Because there's always a next time and it always goes further. And it absolutely does apply. And you can apply any argument that you want. We have a severe limit on resources in this country. We don't have enough food, we don't have enough oil, we don't have enough this, we don't have enough that. Well, what's the other side of that? Why don't we have enough? Because we have too much population. Limit the population. Increase your resources, right? You still have the same pie, you're just dividing it smaller. So about that mandatory state mandated abortion. Well, just put this in your arm. Once a population says that they will allow the government to put in their arm anything, the government will put whatever it wants. It's just a vaccine, it's just an abortion, it's just this, it's just that, it's only this. And it's always framed the same. It's just, and it's only this one time. But it never ever stops there. So once it starts, there is no end and it will always get worse.
Would you recommend vaccination for people who could get it?
Absolutely, 100%. I think people who are at risk, like myself, it's a much more complicated decision. And half of me kind of wishes that I got vaccinated, and the other half says, I'm glad that I didn't. Ultimately, I didn't get the vaccine, and I ended up getting sick. It was as bad as I thought. Now, I had been sicker. I've gotten worse cases of the flu, but it wasn't, not many, I can tell you that. I can only think of 2 times I was ever sicker than that. But the body aches and the fatigues, worst I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I didn't even get the body aches as much. I think I only got it for a day. Fatigue definitely, but not as bad.
And I had never lost taste like that. The only time that I've had a cold or the flu where I lost taste was just because I was stuffy and I couldn't taste. This was the full-blown, nope, your taste receptors, that part of your brain has just been turned off. Yeah,
it's kind of weird because I still have that. How long before you get your taste back?
About a week. It's still coming back. I don't have it all yet. I will say that I'm a little pissed.
About what?
There are people that have lost like 40 pounds.
How many you
nothing.
lost?
Nothing. Not an ounce. Which, and I mean that to be funny, of course, but my appetite never changed.
Oh yeah, you've been eating, right? Yeah. Well, you don't really eat a lot either way, but
it almost made me hungrier.
Yeah, really? Even when you didn't have any taste?
Yeah, I still had a really strong appetite then, and then it was sort of, I think, mentally driven by, it's so weird, I'm eating this and it doesn't taste like anything. I'm going to keep eating something until I finally taste something. I think it was driven by curiosity.
Oh, I'm like the opposite. I don't have much appetite. See, I can barely finish this food that I'm eating. Any last thought?
I love watching you be you. You are exploring yourself every day. And that's what I love about you.
Well, now I get to watch you with a full video, just you. This is gonna be your vlog, Papa.
Hey, you guys.
Do I do? All right, that's enough.
You know that life's a magic circle, and it's my turn for a ride. I'm busting out this bubble, and I'm